Welcome to Module 6. In this module, we're going to be finishing out all our field parameters and a lot of block settings and some remaining fields that we haven't covered yet that are not the super advanced ones. We're going to use our product returns module as our backdrop for learning all these remaining field parameters. So the first thing we're going to have a look at is filtering. And filtering is basically the search. It's a way of searching. When you're filtering data, you do it from the front end of the block. And the reason I'm talking about filtering is because there are field parameters that are associated with filtering as well. First thing we'll do is we'll just do a bit of searching. And we have some nice data here that we can actually work with. The first one we'll do is search all. Search all means it's going to search every field in this block, including fields that may not be appearing in these results that might be hidden, as you saw when we were managing the data display settings. So we'll do search all for part 001 and click search. And as you can see, it gave everything for part 001. Now what that means is it finds everything that might even contain part 001. For example, I'm going to put in another number that has that. So let's say something else. Now I just have to remember what the rule was here. We might have to delete it. Yeah, that was the shipment number anyway. I'll just use this one. And I'll just check the format test. So that's the format required. So we're going to put part 001 into this. And the reason I want to show you this is because I want to show you how it works. The search, hang on, P-A-R-T. We won't be able to put it in there. I'm going to remove that rule because for the purpose of this video, we don't want other things getting in our way. So here's the rule. Must be certain format and press X. And that deletes it. Now let's try again. Other part. And we just use this shipment number again. And I'll just say random part 001 hello. Now let's do another search for part 001. And as you can see, it found this result as well. And that's what search all means. Get everything basically. The next one we'll do is we put in a shipment number. They're all the same shipment number. And when I put this in, you're going to see more results than we just saw there. So it's actually giving you part 002 as well because it's finding the shipment number. So this is basically saying search everything for either part 001 or this shipment number. But this might not be the desired behavior. So in that case, what you do is you click to force all words to match. What this does is it makes sure that in one record, all of these have to be in it. So it has to be part 001 and this one. So now when we search, it's only giving those ones. So now, for example, I'll add one more. And now it's only giving that one. And you can also X out of them. And we come back to our original search. And as you X, it also reloads the search. So pressing X on a search item is actually the same thing as researching again. And it just updates with whatever has been, considering whatever has been removed. Specific field search is a little different. The idea of specific field search is that you want it to be an exact match for that field. So for example, part 001, we're saying we're going to search part number one, part number. So do you notice the one that I put in a while ago that was actually in the serial number doesn't appear? Because that's because we've said, well, it has to be part number. And now let's put in another search. So this is giving part where the part number is equal. I actually put in a wrong one there. So what's happening here is basically it's searching for part number is either part 001 or this. I was meant to put in the serial number though, so I'll X out of that, but that still worked as a search. So now we're going to search part number, or it has to be this serial number. And you can see the fields building up here. Again, just like the other option, that all words must match, and that means that in the record it has to have this and it has to have this. So I got no value in my result here, and that's because I'm after realizing that this is actually nowhere. So it was always just searching part 001. I'm just looking at it there, I can see that I added a 7, which there's no serial number that has that. So let's try again. We'll X out of that and we'll do serial number and we remove the 7. We should get just this result. And there we are. So that's an overview of filtering data. So let's have a look at some field parameters related to this. So hover over the field, part number, and we will say data filtering trigger field. So what this parameter does is it basically forces whatever is selected in this field to be a trigger for the filtering that I just showed you. So let's start out and there's nothing there. And I put in part 001 and hit return. Again, it calls the action. So like I said before, our field parameters are triggered when the action of a field is triggered. And as you can see, it filters it. I didn't have to come here and do anything. Likewise, part 002 and part 003 will have nothing. So we're going to stay with the data filtering. So what we'll do is we'll skip this one for now, data filtering for subblocks only, because we haven't covered the subblock field yet. Apply profile filter is something we're going to do in our next video. So what I'll do is we'll carry on here and I'm going to go down actually to some block settings. One of them is force data fields for those without permission. Force data filter fields for those without permission. And we'll say we'll leave this, or yeah, we'll turn this on as well. So what this is it'll only load data that has been filtered. And there's no way for the user to change that. So let's, for example, scroll up and make this a plain data field. So we're not going to be able to change it. We're going to make the default value part 001. And we're going to say trigger rules on field initiation of this field, on the first initiation of this field. So that means that's basically saying carry out all the actions. So if you think about it, the data filtering is associated with this field. So the first action it's going to do is filter this. And understanding this is fundamentally about understanding how Blockworx works, about actions and how actions are triggered as soon as a value changes or as soon as a value, in this case, is initialized. So the action in our case is filtering part001. I'm going to click submit. Now remember, I'm a full admin, so I actually have permission to change the filters, but I'll show you that first. So I didn't even have to press anything. Part number one, it triggered that, loaded part number one, and now we have our part001. However, I can still X out of that and we get no data. So let's X back again. I'll show you why we got no data. Because I had prevent regular data from being loaded, and that was trying to load the regular data. So let's turn that back on again, or turn it back off again, and we'll go again. Now part001, X out of that, now we're getting all the data. So as you can see, that parameter didn't, the parameter where we're forcing the filter didn't work because I'm an admin. So let's make a new user. Actually, the first thing we'll do is we'll add a role here. Operator role. Well, look, that's fine. We'll use the operator role. We create a user. We have this one. We're just going to check out to see do they have what permission they have. So they don't have any permissions. These are just old legacy generic permissions. So that's perfect. That means we can use this account to log in, and we'll see that they didn't have that permission. Employee account. Product returns. Receiving. As you can see, it only showed the ones that so at the moment there is nothing appearing, and I think I know why. I believe we had a setting a while ago turned on where we can only load logged in users data, and because I'm a different user, we can't see the data. So I'm going to have to log out once again just as an admin. And it's good to see these kind of things as I'm working away, because these are the kind of things that happen while you're developing and building. You'll notice behavior might be a little unexpected, and it could be because you had a setting turned on or off. So let's look up the data restriction settings that I showed you before. So as you can see, only load logged in users data. I'm going to change this back to no restrictions. And in this module, we're going to cover the rest of these as well, including this one. Okay, so log back out again. I think it was employee account. So product returns, receiving, and as you can see, they only saw part one, and they have no way of changing this. So this is plain data, so they can't change this. And this filter is basically grayed out. They can't X out of it. And that's the idea of that field parameter, or block setting, sorry. So it's worth noting a functional use for that Could be when we use what I showed you a few modules ago, our linked data field. So let's just say we have a different block, and we'll say choose part. We'll put this into processing. We'll move this here because the idea is we'd be going from part to receiving. So we'll do the linked data field. First, we're going to do a multi-button field, and we'll call it part number. Part 001, part 002, and press submit. And now we'll use our linked data field. Go to receiving. Receiving. And you've seen this field before. We'll do open a new tab. We'll go with purple. Go to receiving. And we're going to add our part number field and press submit. What I'll do here is I'll just hide the label as you saw before. Now I'm going to do one other thing. I'm going to go back to our receiving and remove the default value. I will just say waiting for part. So when I go to the front end of receiving, that just says waiting for part, and it'll filter by waiting for part, which doesn't exist. So let's go to choose part. We'll pick part 1 and we click go to receiving. It opens a new tab, passes in part 001 up there, and as you can see, passes it in here, and then because the actions are set to trigger on this field, it instantly triggers the filtering. So we go back to here, we'll say part 2, click on this one, and now we have part 2. So remember, like I showed you, the user may not have the ability to change this, so this forces them to maybe only put in certain data. So it's just another way of managing data and access and stuff. So in the next video, we're going to keep working with kind of ways of filtering and restricting data, and also ways that it can be even more secure as well. Thank you. Bye bye.